So I'm Antonio Trumlo here, and I'm here today with Emily Seitz, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a second-year optometry student at PCO, and I run an Instagram account that focuses on optometry school and the day in the life of an optometry student, and it's called Eyesights.
So you utilize Instagram,
Yes.
and why Instagram as opposed to Facebook or Snapchat? I mean, what are the big players right now anyway?
Yeah, I think that Instagram really gives you a better opportunity to connect with people. You can really reach out to people and address more people than you could on Facebook. With Facebook, they would specifically have to search you as an individual or your individual business page, and so what that would require is them to know who you are in the first place. But on Instagram, what you can do is they can discover you without having to search for you. So I think that gives you a better opportunity to interact with people that, they might live in a different country or they might live, in different areas, and you can connect with them a lot better than you can on Facebook.
You see some of these pages or some of these Instagrammers, right, with like millions of followers.
Right.
I mean, some of them are famous, fine, but how do you create a page? How do you build a brand that attracts all those people who
Yeah.
want to see what you're posting?
Sure. There's we can talk about little tactics like using the right hashtags, using hashtag optometry, hashtag optical glasses. Those are tools that you can use. But I think that in terms of if you want to get there, right? I think you have to respect the process. For me, it's always been about growing slowly, but having a very clear and defined outlook of what I'm trying to do. So it might be nice to see 32,000 followers, but I want to build a community that's really genuine, and I'm as invested in them as they might be in my account.
Right, because a lot of these people have fake followers, right?
Yeah.
You can pay for followers.
Right.
I'm pretty sure, right?
Right.
But it's more important to have maybe fewer followers but more engaged followers. Is that what
Definitely.
you'd say?
I would say even from the messages that I've received, a lot of people will direct message me on Instagram, and they'll ask questions. There was a 16-year-old from California, and she wants to go to optometry school. She knows she wants to be an optometrist, and she was asking me what AP course she should take, chemistry or biology. And so when I get messages like that, it just honestly makes it feel worth it because I love the interaction that I have with my followers, and I love what I'm providing for them.
Yeah. Take us through a perfect post, right, on Instagram. Take us from the beginning process, even just you thinking about the post, not necessarily the process of doing it, but take us even before then. How does it start?
That's a good question because I don't believe in the perfect post. In terms of what we see on Instagram, I think something that people don't realize is that it's not very organic. It's very inorganic. It's not real. And something that I've tried to do is let loose some of that perfectionism. We messed up this earlier take, but it's part of life. We're all just living our lives accordingly, and I think that's more personable than anything. Crafting the perfect post, sure, natural daylight or the right angle, but I think that Instagram, the day in the life, or even just post on a regular basis, I think it gives you the opportunity to reconnect and be real among all the other accounts that are just there for show.
So you would say, in your opinion, that practices who are focusing on marketing should focus some marketing spend on, social media platforms, but particularly Instagram?
I think so. Like I said before, I think it's a great way to tell your story. We, as optometry students, so why am I giving this talk, right? Why am I talking about optometry students and marketing? We don't have products. We don't have services that are our own. We don't have a business. So what do we have to market? Well, the one thing that I think we lose sight of when we start practicing is that we have ourselves to market. And regardless of, what frame lines you carry or, your store operations or any other kind of products that you have in, the one thing that keeps the patient coming back is how invested they are in you. And I think that's a really powerful thing that Instagram has taught me and can help other people understand as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, how do you think that helps you differentiate yourself maybe from some of the peers? Because it's a competitive job market, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you graduate, you start looking for a job. Do you feel like this is going to help you maybe be more marketable to a practice that's looking to hire?
Definitely, because I think a lot of people realize and recognize, like, oh, I should be on Instagram or I should have a business profile, but they're not exactly sure how to get into those steps. So if you are going to go that route and do something similar to me, I think it's a great idea because it will show the practitioner that you're willing to take on that responsibility and help take them there as well. And it's an investment in you as a doctor and the practice too that you'll be working for.
Yeah, we heard the word earlier, transparency, right?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that. I mean, what do you mean by transparency?
Kind of just transparency and just showing people what it's like to be an optometrist. There's a lot of confusion between what we actually do, and I think it's kind of time that we take the reins and say who's better to tell the public what we do than ourselves.
Yeah, what's the buzz in school right now? So you're in school. I was in school. I don't know, 5 years ago or so. But it's a lot different now, I think, than it was then, right? I feel like social media was important then as well, but I didn't think that there was as many social or Instagram kind of presences in the eye care industry.
Right.
What's kind of spurred that? What's kind of created that?
I think
Any
that
idea?
when I look at Instagram, I think that the biggest accounts are the fitness accounts and the health and well-being accounts. Even general medicine, I think, is a little saturated, but not for optometry. You can search hashtag optometry, and there's I don't know, like 10,000 posts maybe. So it's not as saturated, but I think that it's been a branch off. It can be a branch off of those other accounts that have become really big, professions that have become really big from using social media in a dynamic way.
Yeah, are there any particular optometry kind of specific accounts that you
Great
that you
question.
like?
Yes. So yesterday, I went to a panel on some of my favorite optometrists and optical and eye care providers were on it, and I just have to say, Glam Optometrist is definitely one of my inspirations. I also am really close with Dr. Will Toe, who goes by the Traveling OD. I see him as a mentor. It's not just about like following them and like looking at them and seeing what they do, but they've connected with me as well and recognized what I'm trying to do. And it really becomes this tight-knit community among people just empowering other people. Optometrists empowering optometrists.
Yeah, I mean, how do you see this helping you in maybe 2 years when you graduate, when you get out? I mean, do you feel like this is just going to help you in terms of, not just from a marketing aspect, but maybe just from, is it influencing who you are maybe in school or, when you're interacting with patients? I mean, do you see that kind of doing anything else there? Or is it just kind of like, I'm interested in doing this. I want to be, market myself. I want to build a brand around myself and, you know.
I would say I do think that it kind of influences who I am. It's made me realize what I value as a doctor. I've sat down and, if I've given advice or if I've had other people connect with me, I think it's forced me to kind of consider what I want my values to be as I practice based on the interactions that I've already had with people. And not just physical interactions in person, but interactions with everyone in the community that could be your patient. I think that's something interesting to think about is anyone that has vision and has sight, they could be your patient.
So you have the photo and you have the stories, right?
Yes.
Two different things.
Right.
How do you utilize stories? How do you utilize the photo? Is there a difference? What is better? One or two?
Right. That's always the question. I don't know if I can say one is better. When you do photos, you can kind of build that overall scenic profile, set up an overall dynamic of what you want. Or you see someone, they come to your profile, they probably scroll for like 10 seconds, and then they decide if they want to follow you or not. You don't have a lot of time to capture their attention. So having a nice layout for your general template, that's what catches people's eye. So initially, that would be a benefit to having the posts and the photos. But I think that the videos give you the more real and raw and authentic point of view of who you are. And I think when people see that, that is when they're more invested.
So what are you going to do next to kind of take yourself to those, you're at how many followers do you have right now?
I'm at 1,400 followers.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I think I've got like 30.
I will follow you.
Yeah, all right. So what are you going to do to take your Instagram, presence to the next level? I mean, what can you do? Do you feel like there's certain strategies, certain things that you could be doing better?
I think that a really good strategy, if you do want to do something similar, is to connect with people that do have more followers than you. Like I said, this is kind of a community of people empowering other people. And I like to cross post and following people back, like when they follow you and when you actually get to meet them in person. I feel like that's like the actual real connection that you make. So it's important to remember that Instagram is all about interaction. And the way in which you interact can be very diverse. But at the root, that's what it is.
I think it's all very important. There's a lot of companies out now, like Hubble contact lenses. You might have
Definitely.
heard of them, right? And they have built their brand around it being Instagram friendly.
Sure.
So most of their marketing dollars are spent on Instagram, on Facebook. I'm pretty sure they came out and even said we get over 3 million impressions a day on their Facebook ads.
Definitely.
So, I think it's important just for general, even practices to be aware of this because
Sure.
all of this translates into how you market your practice,
Yeah.
I guess.
And I think the one thing to remember is that what we have over those companies, Warby Parker or Hubble or even other larger scale companies, is that they don't have a face. And you as a doctor have a face. You have a story. You're a person with a practice. And that practice has a story. And how you got there, it all has a story. And that's what's powerful about Instagram.
Yeah, I think a lot of older generation ODs, even newer ODs, can learn a lot from students like yourself who
you.
are doing this thing. So, I guess what's your advice to, a practicing OD now that's been out that might not have a big social presence or might kind of be thinking to themselves, well, I don't know if I need that. What's your final advice to them?
My advice would definitely be yes, you need it. And tap into the younger generation to help you with it because we know our own peers just as much as anyone else. And if you're trying to tap into that younger market, utilize the doctors that are of the same age or students that are pre-optometry and interested in that. I think there's very little to lose and very much to gain from doing that.
One more question for you.
Okay.
How many times do you post a day, a week, a month? I mean, is there like an ideal amount of
Yeah. So ideally, you'd want to post once a day, at least one post once a day. I do videos every day. So sometimes when I post, I don't post as much as, and it depends on my school schedule if exams are heavy. But sometimes I'll just do a time lapse of me studying and writing pages on a paper, and it ends up looking really nice and like really pretty. And I'm proud of those posts. But yeah, I would say definitely like one post a day, usually for your feed, and I like to do every day because I like people bringing into my life.
always eye specific, or
No.
could be anything?
No, you're a person. I think you can
Yeah.
make it dynamic. It adds a dimension to who you are as a doctor.
And let your patients connect with you or your
Exactly.
peers.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yep.